it is.
Hi, my name is Christine. I've been reading some articles on jw.org and things. I just had a quick question about something. Do you have a minute?
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Um, I was reading a book that was it's called Online Library. Do you ever look at that? They have a lot of
Uh-huh.
stuff on there.
We do.
Yeah. So, it had a little chart about 1914, and it said that earthquakes, as far as earthquakes, there's about 20 times as many major ones per year since 1914.
Yeah, they probably quoted the source for that. Like,
No.
no?
Yeah, so I was
Okay.
wondering if you had a source. I tried to find something on government or scientific sites, but they say really quite the opposite of this. Like, that as far as major
What
earthquakes, there's
what
kind of
what publication? What publication are you
survival into a
reading?
new earth, page 27.
Okay. Okay.
And also to see the picture, I had to look on a different site that's an archival site because the website doesn't show the illustrations all the time of, like when there's a book or something like that.
Right. So you were on page 27.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pull up that
Yeah, I said it's kind of
publication.
like an image, so it's probably I don't think it shows on there. I saw it on an archival site.
And what was the image that you saw?
It's called 1914, a year marked by Bible chronology and world events. That's where the
Uh-huh.
earthquake statement was. But it's in an image, so you can't see it on jw.org.
I
Yeah.
see.
Uh huh.
I see.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. It took me a while to catch up. So that's not actually in the. Yeah, I would have to. I mean, you caught. We were just meeting here for a few minutes and about to
Okay.
go out the door. You caught me a little unprepared to answer that. I understand what you're asking,
Uh huh.
and we have a lot of different information about earthquakes. I can't cite the the where that statistic came from.
Yeah.
But if
Right.
you'd like, I could do some research and then get back to you, or I could give you my number and you give me, a couple days. Maybe call me on Monday if you don't want to give me your number, and because this is the Kingdom Hall number, and there's
Oh,
not always
okay.
somebody
Okay.
here.
Well, I mean, it's not
So
it's not that crucial to me really, but I was
it
just wondering because.
it just it yeah, no, but I
Uh
understand.
huh.
You read something like that and you go, well, where did they get that? I get that, right?
20
This,
times as many. You know.
right. This is, but here's the bottom line. When it comes to statistics, um, you know, like I over the years, I realize whether we watch it on the news or documentary or in Jehovah's Witness literature, statistics come from different sources and they don't always agree.
Mm-hmm.
Statistics don't always agree,
Mm-hmm.
right? The experts say. But the bottom line is this: since 1914, the world has seen unprecedented trouble. We've had two world wars, and and since 1914, the Earth has been very few days where there's not been a hot war going on somewhere. Sometimes there are dozens going on at any given time. On top of the fact that so many people um, are hungry and so many people and disease is rampant. So I think when we look at Jesus' prophecies, he said that his presence would be marked by many things on a global basis, not just one isolated area. And we're pretty convinced that we're living during that time period of unprecedented trouble for the human race. We,
Which time would you have rather lived during that would be a better time that, in your opinion?
well, that's a good question. There's no time in human history that I would prefer.
Right.
There's no time in human history I would prefer, because I look forward to the time when God's kingdom is ruling the earth.
Oh, I don't mean because of a hope. I mean because of conditions and everything. Have you ever heard of Have you ever heard of the War of Spanish Succession, which is also classified as a world war in the 1700s, and some other ones?
I can't say that I know that particular, but hey, look, I know that there's always been trouble. I mean, like we're very aware that there was slavery in this country, but all through human history there. And, we know that there's a lot of immorality today, but all through human history, there have been people that have been immoral. The Assyrians were bloody people. They cut people's heads off. I mean, so we're not saying that things are so good in the olden days, and nobody ever said that. But we have unprecedented trouble today because it's global and it's in our face and it's instant. We all know everything instantly.
Well, another one that you could compare to, maybe you could research it, was called the Taiping Rebellion in the 1800s with 40 million deaths. And that's 4 times as much as World War I. And there was other wars that were all around the known world, even more widespread than those world wars you mentioned.
Well, I don't think 40 million deaths is 4 times World War I.
Yeah, World War I is 10 to 12 million.
Well, I know, and then the Spanish flu came right after that, and it killed more people than the war did.
Yeah, and the Black Death and stuff like that.
Right.
A third of Europe.
We're not saying that these things. There's always been war, and there's always been sickness. There's always been trouble. We know that. But we're talking about an unprecedented time, and you may not agree with that. I mean, but even those things you cited were not global in the sense that every nation on earth got involved. So I mean, there's been killing. There's been awful things through human history, and that's why we advocate God's kingdom as the only real solution to mankind's problems, because man cannot rule himself properly, and that's made over the thousands of years of human history. It's evident man can't rule himself properly. That's just what you're talking about is what we are saying.
Yeah, I mean, as far as time parameters and dates and things, I mean, do you think the organization is reliable overall?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever looked at compilations of their previous false dates and false time parameters? For example, definitions of this generation, the different dates, specific dates.
Yeah,
I mean, they still have a date.
I'm very aware of the generation.
Yeah, the year 2000, year 2000.
So here's the thing. Well, no, they never say anything about the year 2000.
Okay, yeah, they did. They did.
No, I've been one of Jehovah's Witnesses for 46 years. We never said anything about the year 2000.
Okay.
Ever.
Do you want me to bring it up real quick on I can bring those up if you want me to read them to you. Okay.
I mean, well, that's up to you. But when it comes to identity, when Jesus said, "This generation will by no means pass away until all these things occur," is that the scripture you're talking about?
Oh yeah, they've had a bunch of different definitions as to who that was or how long it was, and they said they were all from Jehovah. So I think that's important too.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
So. I personally, like in my mind, whatever our current understanding of how that verse applies, whatever, there's certain things I call doctrine, which I think when the Bible specifically says something. I'm one of Jehovah's Witnesses for 46 years. I'm an elder in the congregation. There's certain things I know that the Bible says. When it comes to the generation, it sounds to me like somebody trying to understand something.
Oh,
So
is that how
whatever.
they? Let me ask you this question: is that how they presented it, or did they present it as using wording like the Creator's promise or from Jehovah? Is I think understanding is something they use for things that have already failed, and they try to spin it like it was just an understanding. But they all those things were set forth as from Jehovah. Here's one. Shortly within our 20th century, the battle in the day of Jehovah will begin against the modern antitype of Jerusalem, Christendom.
Right. Yeah. And so was that statement in error to say in the 20th century, and now we're in the 21st century?
Yes.
I'll agree with that.
The most people would call it an error. It's in the book called The
Yeah.
Nations Shall Know That I Am Jehovah. They
Right.
also said the
But
work.
I mean, I understand. Look, you can point to
Well, you said they
all
didn't
through
say
the
that. You said they didn't say that, so
No,
I was
I
just
said it
sharing
didn't
that.
say the year 2000. You
Yeah.
said that they said the generation would end in the year 2000. It doesn't
Oh, no,
say
not the
that.
generation. I mean, I was talking in
Oh,
general about predictions, dates, and
oh,
different
oh.
time
Yeah, they
parameters.
weren't saying, but they never taught by the year 2000, blah blah blah. But they did say, I agree. They
That's
said
what
in the 20th
that's what within
century.
our 20th century means, though.
Right, right. I understand.
Yeah,
And the year
okay.
2000 would actually be in the 21st century, right? So so 1999 would be the
Yeah,
20th century,
yeah.
and the
Well,
year
you're just
2000
kind of
is the
you're trying to
21st
divert
century.
from that with
But
red herring, but
yeah, so um, uh, I get what you're saying, and I agree that sometimes we publish things that turned out to not be
well, you're not
accurate.
doing it. I wasn't saying you were doing it. You said we
Well,
publish
well
things. I know what you
I'm
mean.
one of Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm one of
Right.
Jehovah's
But
Witnesses.
you're not
So
giving the spiritual
I
food, so you don't have to you don't have to include yourself
well,
in
I
it.
will take responsibility because I
Oh,
adhere to this. Okay,
you did
so
adhere to
so
those. Wow. Yeah. Okay.
so all I'm saying is, when I was relatively new as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, maybe only 10 years or 15 years as one, I had someone, he was concerned about me, and he
Mm.
brought a legal yellow notepad to my house, and he had all these errors that, quoting from old
Right.
Watchtower,
False prophecies.
and
Yeah. Uh-huh.
right,
That was so
and he was,
kind of that person cared about you that much.
yeah, it was nice.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I can't remember what religion he was,
Mm-hmm.
but but um but his religion, his ministers blessed troops that went over and killed people of his same religion during World War I and World War II. He
Mm-hmm.
was in
Hmm.
Christendom, and his church, his ministers blessed troops, and then said God is on your side, and they went and killed people that could have been of his same religion, because Germany was Christian. In Europe, those that fought for Germany, the vast majority of their soldiers were quote unquote Christian. So it's Christian killing Christian. We see Muslim killing Muslim. We see Hindus killing Hindus.
Oh, so you're saying
So
pacifism proves it's the truth? What about all the other
not
pacifist?
we're not pacifists, but we
Oh,
don't get
okay.
involved in political
Right.
wars.
What about
So
other
so
religions that
so
don't? I
so
mean, that's not
we
really
have
unique. That's not
let
really
me
unique.
finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me finish. I've listened to you. So we have published some things that didn't turn out to be true, but we try our best. We're not perfect. We try our best to uphold high moral standards. We don't get involved in the politics of the world. If somebody's father or brother or sister was killed in a war, they weren't killed by one of Jehovah's Witnesses for these last 100+ years. So in my mind, we try our best to represent the creator of the universe the best we can, but we don't always get it right, and we don't claim to. We don't claim to be infallible.
What
We
is,
don't claim
yes, they do. They just use other
no, they
they
don't.
use alternative expressions that mean the same
Well,
thing. Like, for
if I mean,
example,
if,
let me have a minute now.
anyway,
For an
I
example,
really, I've got people
oh,
waiting for
okay,
me,
okay. I don't
and
want to
I mean,
interrupt you.
yeah, if you want me to do research on where we get our statistics about earthquakes or that particular statistic, I will. But I'm going to say this right now. We've published things about earthquakes for decades,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure all the statistics that they quote aren't going to be necessarily agree with other statistics
Mm-hmm.
that they even quoted. But the point they're trying to make is that earthquakes do affect people's lives on a
No, the point they're
large
trying to
scale.
make is that's like the last second of the last minute of the last days because of that, and 20 times the number every year since 1914. You should look at it in that book. It's pretty wild. It's a pretty wild claim. I couldn't find anything remotely similar or even close to that. So
I think we're very close to the end of this system of things, but
they
we
said
don't,
that in
and
the
that's okay.
1870s too. So anyway,
Yeah.
okay.
Look,
Well,
I never look. I'm an old man. I never thought I would get this old in this system. So
right.
I've been expecting it
Why is
all my
that?
life.
Where did you get that idea?
I got it from the Watchtower.
Right, right. Okay. Well, hey, thanks for talking. Thanks for being so nice to me.
Oh, no problem.
Okay.
I'm not sure what exercise you're involved in, and like looking at our literature,
Uh-huh.
and but it sounds like you're just looking for reasons to find fault, and I
Oh.
find that interesting.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of stuff about Christendom and being Babylon the Great and finding fault. And I mean, it's kind of been their bread and butter is the
I
ranting
mean,
against
I
Christendom,
mean,
really. So
so
it's kind of funny. Uh-huh.
when you first called, it
Hmm.
sounded like you were being inquisitive.
I
What
am
what
about
it
that
sound?
quote. I'm shocked by it.
Oh, okay.
So I was inquisitive. I am inquisitive about that. Do you know where a site that has archival, uh, all the stuff archived is called Watchtower Wayback. It has no
Oh,
commentary. It's not done by bad people or anything. In case you want to see the picture, so.
yeah. I think I have that book in my
Oh,
library.
oh, okay, cool. Okay. Hey,
So,
thanks for talking. I hope you have a great
okay.
day. God bless you.
You too.
Bye.